journalist and communication officer of Soroptimist Europe, and very happy about our wonderful guest today, Afghan Swiss media entrepreneur Hamida Aman. Thanks so much for joining us here today. Hamida was awarded the Soroptimist Europe Peace Award in Krakow last October. And before we talk, you will receive some more information about this award, about Soroptimist International of Europe, and about the importance of the peace theme for us. So this is what's coming up for you in the next hour. A short greeting by the President of Soroptimist Europe, Sabine Reimann, a brief introduction to our Peace Task Force by Soroptimist Europe Vice President Giovanna Guercia, and a summary of the Peace Award jury's decision by jury chair Caroline de May. And then our interview with Hamida, and a chance for you to ask questions in the chat and thus exchange and engage with Hamida directly. Okay, so that's the program. Let's get started. President Sabine Reimann, please.
Thank you so much, Susanne, and good evening, everybody. Dear Soroptimists, dear friends, a warm welcome for me as well, and I thank you for joining us today. When we speak about peace, we do so at a time when peace can no longer be taken for granted. Wars, conflict, increasing polarization, and growing instability are shaping our world again. Unfortunately, also very close to home. And this is one of the reasons why we from Soroptimist International of Europe have decided to place the topic of peace more visibly at the center of our advocacy work. Our federation strategy has a very clear objective: to strengthen our influence, our impact in society and legislation, and our visibility across Europe and beyond. And advocacy is a key part of this. Advocacy means understanding developments, engaging in societal discussions, building knowledge, and raising our voices where women's rights and democratic values are at stake. The commitment to peace is not new at all in our organization. In fact, it is deeply rooted in the history of Soroptimist itself. Soroptimist International was founded in the aftermath of the First World War. One of the core ideas behind the origin of our organization was that international understanding, cooperation, and friendship between women could contribute to peace and stability. This belief still feels remarkably relevant today. Peace has therefore always been part of our constitutional objectives and part of our identity as an organization. Over the years, many remarkable Soroptimists have continued to carry this commitment forward. Particularly one of my predecessors, Heidrun Konrad from Austria, brought the topic of peace back into stronger focus within our federation. She established the SIE Peace Prize, which is awarded every 4 years. With our new Peace Talk series, we would now like to revisit the inspiring work and achievements of the laureates of recent years and create conversations around the broader topic of peace building. And we are especially pleased to begin this series with last year's recipient, Hamida Aman. But before we hear more about her extraordinary work, I would also like to mention that the peace portfolio within our federation is coordinated by one of our vice presidents, Giovanna Guercia from Italy. She is running the Peace Think Tank, one of our exciting new initiatives. Together with her team, Giovanna is working on how SIE can contribute meaningfully to discussions around peace, women's participation in peace negotiation, and international cooperation. Giovanna, the floor is yours.
Thank you. Thank you, President Sabine. And my heartfelt thanks to all of you for being here today. Dear friends, more than a century ago, the founders of Soroptimist saw something clearly. One of our highest callings is to help build stout communities grounded in peace and solidarity. Today, that mission feels more urgent than ever. The world is asking more of civil society, and our shared commitment can truly make a difference. It is in this spirit that the European Federation has launched an initiative to support United Nations Security Council Resolution 1325. The resolution was adopted in 2000 and later strengthened by further resolutions. More than 100 countries have embraced this framework, developed national action plans, and are now working to turn those commitments into reality. Its first priority is clear: to ensure the full participation of women at every level of decision making in peace processes, negotiation, mediation, and peacekeeping missions. Because we know this to be true, women are essential not only to preventing and resolving conflict, but also to building a more just and lasting peace. And yet, today, women represent only 8% of participants in peace negotiation. And we know the peace is stronger and more enduring when women have a place at the table. We also know that in times of violence and war, women are often the ones who bear the deepest wounds. That is why we have chosen to launch an initiative called Women Make Peace Possible. The first step is awareness. The next is giving women to knowledge and trainings they need to engage fully and confidently with these issues. Alongside our other initiatives, we also want to honor the experiences, courage, and achievements of women who have made a real contribution to peace processes. And today, we are proud to begin a series of conversations on peace with truly extraordinary women. Our first guest is Hamida Aman, that I thank you very much. She is an Afghan entrepreneur, journalist, and founder of Radio Bigum, created to reach and support Afghan women in their homes. Last year, she received the Soroptimist International of Europe Peace Prize. It is now my great pleasure to hand over to Caroline Demey, chair of the prize jury. Caroline, the stage is yours.
Thank you so much, Giovanna. I appreciate very much you invited me yesterday or the day before to also join this meeting. And of course, I'm very proud about also about the work of the jury, because it was not easy to find a jury in this, very chaotic world we lived in, that we all witnessed in the project of Women and War Zones. So from there on, I had like a full notebook of possible people who would be joining the jury, but the selection was done as such. When we received the applications, we had to be sure that the members of the jury would have a deep knowledge, not just being knowledgeable, but have a deep knowledge of the region the candidates worked in, and also like the surroundings, everything that would matter politically and geopolitically and democratic. And so we are an apolitic and religious organization, but still the politics are very important in everything that has to do with peace. So this was the first challenge to take. And we found those jury members. So I don't know if I have to repeat it, but Phoebe Okawa since became a jury of the international judge in the International Court, for example. Then we had also the past director of the UN. We had Nicole Amelin, who then at that very time also became member of the advisory committee of the Human Rights Council at the UN. And of course, Silvana Arbia, who had been the winner of the Peace Prize. So that bunch of people could assure us that the prize winner would be someone that we really want to liaise with Seroptimist International as such. And Hamida had also like the advantage that she worked around education, and educate, enable, empower, all of this is very much Seroptimist. But then, once she was elected, I had to meet her in Krakow to prepare the handing over and the presentation of the Peace Prize. And then I discovered like the most beautiful human being inside and outside one can imagine. We started to talk, and we ended by saying, hey, we have so much material, we have to shrink and shrink and shrink everything to be sure that we fit in the time. But I could go on. So I'm very happy, Giovanna, that this time there will be plenty of time for Hamida. And as a side note, I also want to say that the week after Krakow, she had to travel to Italy and was welcomed there by Seroptimist in Italy in her break of the Congress and the events she attended. And she wrote to me in an app, I discovered I am now part of a full family, the Seroptimist family. So thank you, Giovanna.
Thank you to you, Sabine. Sorry, Caroline.
Yeah.
The emotion.
Yeah, thanks so much. I mean, this is such important work you do at the jury, and thanks for sharing with us a little bit of the process and also of the handover in Krakow. I think all of us who were there were so very, very moved about it. And yes, so let's now start our talk with some more time. Hamida Aman, we look forward to hear about your empowerment of Afghan women and girls, about your personal story between Kabul and Europe, and about your vision of peace and the next steps you see towards it. Also, official good evening, Hamida Aman.
Good evening, good evening. Good evening, Sabine, Giovanna, Caroline, of course, Suzanne. Thank you very much, and all participants. I'm very emotional. I'm very impressed, also very much impressed to see the number of participants. The weather is wonderful for once, but there is still so many people behind the computer. So I'm lucky, and I would like to repeat and to say again that I'm so happy to be part of this big Seroptimist family now. And it didn't end, as you said, in Krakow. I had a wonderful welcoming in Palermo later. Then the visit of Seroptimist section here in France. I gave a conference also. I got a welcoming in Uzes as well. So the club around France also are becoming also part of my family, and very pleased. And thank you very much for this opportunity to discuss and to develop more our activities and our fight and our goal for our women and girls in Afghanistan.
Yes, I think it is so. First of all, I'm very happy that you had this wonderful experience with Seroptimists, because we very often, not only in the peace group, speak about Afghanistan and about the women there. And so there is a lot of interest in our organization about what's going on and what maybe we can do. And I would like to start with what you do and what you started in March 2021, and that was before the Taliban came back. They came back 5 months later, and you started Radio Begum. Yeah. And I think this is so amazing, and I would love to know, how did you develop that? Where were you geographically and in your life, and how did this whole enterprise start for you?
Sure. I would like, yes, as you said, I launched Radio Begum just 6 months before Taliban takes the power in the country. And this radio station was an answer to the situation, to the context, and the fact that American government and Taliban were in discussion, in peace discussion in Doha. It was in 2020 already, and they were discussing about everything about they were discussing about everything that men could discuss together except human rights and especially women's rights. And as an Afghan woman, I was super concerned about the situation and what will happen, because remember that in 1995 Taliban took the power and they erased women from the society already. And we had this horrible experience already. And as a woman and also as a media person, my only answer was another media, to raise our voice and to speak up and also to shout what we want, what we gained, and to keep as much as we can the few things, the few progress that we could get in the last 20 years. And my purpose by launching this radio was that, to raise our voice and to say that we are here and we count as well. And at that time, it was many radio station or media dedicated to women. But a few months later, after August 2021, we remained the only one.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And you use this so well, because from what we talked about earlier, it is, and also what we hear in the media, it is just so difficult for women and it's really something that we learn if we look at the news, that the first thing that goes away if you have an autocratic regime is women's rights. And it is even the rights of education are denied to women, and many more that we'll talk about later. And this is where you hit in. You use radio, you use television, satellite television, and an academy, so a threefold media enterprise to educate women, who educate teenage girls who have to finish school earlier, and also to entertain at the same time, do both.
Yeah.
And the question is, of course, everything has been forbidden. Why not you? Then women are not supposed to show up anywhere, but you have female moderators. They have to hide their faces, but they speak. So there is a lot going on in your work that has been denied to so many women. So how do you work it out that you are not forbidden, and how many women and girls can you really reach?
I would like to remind to our audience that when Taliban took the power, the first thing that they did, they banned all public jobs to women, to all public jobs. So it means the government is not giving any more jobs to women and to civil servants. And the government is usually the first employer in countries like Afghanistan. So it means that they have been erased to all public positions, working in small ministries or as teachers, most of them, or as civil servant in local administration or in the capital city. So they had to stay at home. This is the first thing. They didn't ban the job, women working in the private sector. This is the difference. It's important. And a radio station is a private entities legally. So Begum Organization for Women is a NGO, and this NGO has Radio Begum. We played a little bit on that situation, and the radio is a private entity. So all these women, are working for a private entity, so they cannot ban us. And that's why also the radio station is running. And of course, as a woman organization and as a media, we have a lot of censorship. We don't have any freedom of speech. We cannot talk, as you said, freely. And a woman, when she appeared on TV, she needs to wear a mask. We shouldn't see fully her face. These are the rules that they apply to media. And for instance, a female journalist cannot interview a man, and vice versa. Two men and female colleagues cannot be in the same studio. So logically, it's happened that Radio Begum is fully run by women from top to down level, and we are really, and this is what makes radio very strong, a very powerful tool. It's cheap. It's easy to run, and also you can have access to easily to your audience as well, and it's something that doesn't need so much technicity. But of course, Begum organization has or also men employees, because we cannot do without men. All the position to external liaising with the government, with administration. Of course, we have to have men on that for that positions, but all the rest is run by women, and most of them are journalists, teachers, specialists. We have specialists like theologists, because we have
Yeah.
religious programs that, and it needs to be conducted by scholars, and these are female scholars who are talking about the position of women, the woman's right, but in the perspective of Islam, because otherwise we wouldn't be allowed to talk about women's rights beside this field. And we have doctors, gynecologists, doctors, nutritionists, we have psychologists also part of this team, because all these things, all these specialties, we have programs, we have health program, we have psychological program, I said, and we have also business people who are teaching to women how to start the business and how to run the business. So we are trying to answer to all the problems, all the issues that women are facing: education, health, economical empowerment, through our radio station.
That is so amazing. That's such amazing work. And it was really interesting to me to read about the whole process of then building up the academy and then building up satellite television that you did as well. And that a Taliban official even talked to you about it and said, yeah, satellite we cannot control. This is something,
Exactly. As you said, Suzanne, we started with a radio station, and we were the first one. We were pioneer in broadcasting school programs, school classes program on the radio. So we dedicated 6 hours per day. It's not just a few hours or time here or here. No, it's 6 hours in a row. It's 3 hours in Farsi, in Dari, because it's a bilingual country, and 3 hours in Pashto during peak hours, in order to allow kids. At that time, we started this end of 2021, this kind of programs, and we were the only one. And Taliban banned a few months later all schools for girls, but we continued that program because I said to the Taliban representative that I met later, I told them, you are not allowing girls to attend school, but you ban schools, but not education. So as long, in this, we're not asking girls to get out and go somewhere, but you ban schools, you close the schools, but we bring education at home, and in order that our girls don't miss any contact with education, and when school will reopen, they will be ready. Unfortunately, what was supposed to be very temporary is lasting, and it's 5 years past now since then. So we had to be patient and start new activities and answer to other problematic. For instance, as I said, we are active in Afghanistan as a radio station, but anytime they can come and stop and just
Yeah.
ban our radio station. For that, to avoid these issues, we decided to launch a TV station by satellite, broadcasting by satellite, but outside Afghanistan. And we started in 2024, March 8th of March, again, a Women's Day. Begum TV from Paris, we launched this TV station that has exactly the same editorial line that the radio station, the same kind of program, and the same goal. And by supporting girls and women in education, health, mental health, of course, but also economical empowerment. And also, on the top of that, to bring also entertainment, which is banned in Afghanistan. There is no music in our radio station. Here, with the TV, we broadcast music, we laugh,
Yes.
we broadcast also TV series, entertainment as well, plus educational content. And we are free to talk about contraception, to talk about all the topics that are banned in Afghanistan, all the issues that women don't dare to talk in Afghanistan because of cultural issues, the governmental pressure, but also the general fear. But when they know that this TV is abroad somewhere in a free place, they feel also a bit more free to do it. But do it to a media, Afghan, fully Afghan media in a radio station, we could feel it was not the same. So we developed, we are trying to answer. For instance, I was talking about education. We started with our school content, school program on radio, but through radio, you can educate girls, but not so much because you can teach languages, English, history or geography, but not mathematics, for instance, or not or nor science, because it needs to be visual. For
Yeah.
that, we decided to work on the video curriculum. So we took the secondary level and high school level Afghan curriculum, and we cut it into pieces and we produce videos. So we produce more than 8,000 videos of 15 minutes each in two languages that we put online and that we are using on our TV station. Like that, students can listen to radio school class, or they can watch on our TV and have online access also in a platform and application that we developed. And as many kids can, many girls don't have access to digital, we also distribute this content through SD card with a non-connected system. We don't need Wi-Fi and connectivity. We developed a system to send all this content for the girls in a school who are gathering in informal school, for instance. We have partnership with organizations who have real classes, of course, secret classes, and we send them this material as well for physical class as well. So we really try to reach a maximum of people with all medium, with radio, TV, and digital.
This is so amazing and impressive how you have managed to really set this up and really reach so many women and girls. How do we have to imagine the lives of girls and women in Afghanistan? Because we read so much about the limitations, but it would be interesting for us to hear, how does a woman who lives in Kabul, how is that compared to life in a European city?
Sure.
And also then in the country, it must be really different as
Yes.
well. So please give us an insight into this.
Sure. I mentioned that Taliban ban women to access public positions. They ban schools beyond 12 years old, but they ban also high school and universities. They ban also medical schools, so for nurses, midwives. So there is no new female doctors, neither midwives in Afghanistan right now. They banned women going to public to parks. They have no access to sport. They have even not access to hairdresser. They shut down all the beauty parlor in town, in Kabul and in provinces. They ban also public baths, the hammam, which is very important in this country.
Yeah.
So basically, and women needs to wear entire hijab, so being covering fully from head to toes, and even for the young one to cover their face, so either with a burqa or with a COVID mask. This is how a woman needs to be. And despite this, they forbade women to going alone to do long distance. They need to have a chaperone with them, maybe not for the daily task, going to the market or going around in the neighborhood, but traveling like from one city to another city, a woman is not allowed to do it alone. She cannot travel, she cannot take an airplane to go somewhere. So you can see that this tries slowly but firmly to really to erase women from the public space, to make them to feel them there is no space at all for them. Already before that, Afghan women had not so much space, public space. But here it's becoming even worse. And this has impacting strongly women, mostly from urban area, because in the city centers, in big cities, women have more access to facilities and have a little bit more freedom than women from the countryside, from rural areas. For this woman, life didn't change so much, except there is less hope, less access to health facilities, and also there is no hope that one day something will change for them or for their daughter. Before that, their life was very harsh, but at least they had some hope that maybe by working hard, by supporting my daughters, my children, they will do something from their life. But now they even don't have, most of them, they even don't have this kind of hope. So their life is very boring. It's mostly inside the house, taking care of the kids, and most of them are married very early. So you start at the age of 18 years old, you are already a mother in Afghanistan these days. So, and very quickly you have many children, and you spend your time by doing domestic work, taking care of your kids, going a little bit around, but you have really no entertainment, no vacation, no place to go except to maybe to visit your family members. But also that is becoming very difficult because
Yeah.
yeah, because they created new laws that also refrain that, so that reduce even this freedom. So basically, an Afghan woman is mostly living indoor life behind walls, going just in these small gardens, farming if they are in the countryside, or walking around for to go to the market or to visit family members. Beside that, or there is not so much activities and so much entertainment. And the only window to the world for them is the TV, but the satellite TV or social media for those who have access to internet, and at least through that medium, through these windows, they can see that their life is not normal, their condition is not normal, because they see how other women are living, what they see, and this is a good point, because at least they don't feel that this is the norm. They understand and they have a very good conscience that it's not normal. They they have to, for the moment, they are very resilient to resist to this situation, and women are trying to resist as much as they can. Women are those who open sacred school and gather girls to help them to at least to have a little bit the feeling of normality by learning something. Women are fighting even if it's very difficult to get a license authorization to start a small job, a small activity that will generate some income for her and for the family at least, and especially the widows are doing that. So this is the kind of life that they have with a lot of energy, with a lot of electricity cut during day. For instance, most of the household have no electricity. You have powers only of 2-3 hours per day. So it means you cannot clean your house with a vacuum cleaner or using your washing machine. So it's like a bit the life of women in the 30s or 40s in Europe before the progress, before all these things, and but at least in the 40s, women have access to the outlet and to some activities, but here, even not that.
It is so important, I think, that they have your work and that your teams are really working for the women, because you offer hope in a way. You do, in some ways, what you do is you show a certain aspect of the world. You offer entertainment in the rules, whichever they are. And so this is so very, very important. And yeah, so you are financed by an NGO. And how does that work? And how did the SI Europe Peace Award maybe affect
Sure.
the work that you are doing?
I would like to answer. You have two questions here. The
Yeah,
funding, how we get our funding, it's a very good question because money is the strength. It's with the weapon to win this battle for us. And because we are NGO, non-profit, so we are not generating any income, but we have costs. And for that, at the beginning, we used to have institutional support through United Nations of like UNESCO or UN Women were our main donors, but less and less. At the moment, we have only one small funding from UN Women that is
yeah.
running, and the rest is dried, is nothing. UNESCO is not supporting us for more than a year now. But so far it was the case, and the French government is still supporting us. But let's see if it's the case for next year. I mean, for this from July onward again, we are in a very sensitive time at the moment. And besides that, we have the support of foundation, private foundations, business foundations, but also people who are just donating us every month. We have a platform like a crowdfunding platform that we can and we receive support through that, and also organization through. And you can imagine when we received the Solo Optimist Prize. First of all, it was for us, for me, it was a recognition of our work, which is for us very, very it's super important because when you are fighting every day, you are always trying to solve you are in this disparate situation, and working with women who are struggling so much. It's difficult to understand how much we can influence. We question ourselves very much. Does our work really efficient? Is not just a drop in the ocean of um, poverty and désespoir in French. I don't. And but when we receive the kind of honor that the optimist gave us, it gives us energy, hope to continue. And the support that we receive from the SOR Optimist is used at the moment for two programs. It's our health programs that we are developing more and more. It's on Begum TV. We have live health program where we have doctors who are answering directly to women who are calling us, and this money is helping to support this production, these programs, but also our health, our educational program, Begum Academy, to develop. We have a team of 20 teachers based in Afghanistan who are all day long answering and following up with our students who are sending them questions, problems, and they help them as real teachers in order not to be alone. So we have this pool of teachers who are supported by the money that we receive, the Peace Prize. And I really, again, thanks Sir Optimist for your support, because we have so many things to fund, and we have always 1 year visibility. So it's always always a battle, and we need to start again and again every time, every year.
Yeah, I'm so glad you say this, because we think very often, how can we help these women who live this life as you just outlined it? And I'm so happy that we were able in this way to give you some support in this direction. But you also must be a real diplomat, negotiating with the Taliban about not being taken from the program at all. And you said you are traveling to Kabul. Can you travel freely? What does it look like for you? Are you a free
for me, it's very
traveling
important.
woman, European woman, or are you also limited there?
Yes, it's always very sensitive to travel to Afghanistan, and I did it from the first day. Even if Taliban took over the country, I decided to do this trip. I'm lucky because I'm not only Afghan citizen, but I'm also a Swiss citizen. So I'm holding a Swiss passport, which help also to travel in a safe way, like to be more neutral. And at least a European passport is very useful at this stage. If I was only Afghan citizen, I would be in trouble. I wouldn't be so free to do it. So I am taking this advantage it's for me. This passport is really it's very a weapon for me. It's giving me this freedom, and also it's important. And I go every 2 months, and I spend a lot of time with the team. And for me, what make also Begum successful is because we are in the ground, and I'm going to see what is how the situation looks like. Because if you observe the situation from far from distance, you have the feeling that nothing is possible. And it's super important to go in the field and to see that there is a lot of things that you can do, because life is never either all black or white. There is always gray areas. And us, we navigate these gray areas, and we need to be smart to understand how much we can go. You go on that direction, they block you. You just change your direction. And to understand all these things, you need to be in to understand exactly what's going on. Because if you base only in media and what diaspora or people inside are telling you, it's not always the truth. It's better to see and to act accordingly. And that's why I'm going. This last year, I didn't go in 2025, mostly because we had an incident report, an incident issue with Taliban in February 2025. They interrupted our programs. They raided our office and took
The male
in
teachers.
jail, and they keep them 6 months in jail to give us a lesson, to make a point, who is the boss, who is guiding us, just to make sure that we are not overpassing the limit, especially with our TV station, because that was a problem. If you remember, I told you that we launched Begum TV in 2024, and suddenly they raided our office in 25, because it was also because of this TV station that it for them is a problem, because they have no control on it. They have a control on the radio station, but not on the TV station, because the TV is on by satellite and the radio is in the country, so they have access and power on the radio, but not on the TV. And this incident was a way to show us that be careful, we are here. So that's why I avoided to go this last year. But now in June, I'm planning to go back to meet again. And since then, we made sure that all the griefs that they had against us are resolved, and we split it strictly our activities between the radio and the TV in order to respect, to be in phase with their rules.
How does your family deal with all this? Your children, how do they see this?
It was. I have two children. They are. I have a daughter. She's 17 years old now, and a boy, 15 years old. And when Taliban took over, like 5 years ago, they were just at the beginning of the teenage age. And believe me, they had the feeling that the mother is abandoning them. And one day, it's quite difficult, especially at the beginning. Now it's much better, but believe me, it was a very big thing, because this cause and this situation took all my energy, my focus was only on that, and it was not a job for me, it was a dedication, it was a mission. And of course I abandoned a little bit my family. Luckily my husband was here to take care of the family and the kids. And I should admit that I had some troubles. One day my daughter wrote me a letter, and she said something that I will never forget. Mama, for you, Taliban took away your country, but Taliban took my mother away from me. So it was something that was very much hurting me, and I could feel that it's not their battle, it's my battle. And I need to be also careful, because when you are fully dedicated for a cause, sometimes you forget what people who are around you, and they may suffer. So I learned out of that, and I now it's better, but it's not so easy, because they are very worried about every time I'm traveling to Afghanistan. For them, it's very stressful, because at any time I can be arrested. That there is no fear for my life. I'm not sure that they will kill me for that. No, but yeah, putting me in jail, like giving me a good lessons. Yes, this they are capable to do it. But this is the price and all my I've been very lucky, because I grew up in Europe. I had access to education. I could be a strong woman, and I promised myself, and even when I was a teenager at that time, that one day I will give back. And also my parents always told me that don't forget everything that you are learning, you are gaining here in the country, in Switzerland. One day you need to give it back to your country. So all my life I had this sentence in my mind that one day I need to give back. And I did it just after 9/11. I left Switzerland, the best country in the world, to go back to Afghanistan, the worst country in the world.
Yes, yeah, I read about that you really managed to make a big journey between the two cultures in your life. I think there will be many questions soon from the audience here. I would like to have 2 or 3 last questions on peace before we close our interview here. And so the one idea was, when we talked earlier about our peace program, to ask you to bring a quote that means a lot to you in terms of peace. And you told me you have one, and we would be interested in hearing it.
Yes, for me it was important to have a quote, and during when I received the Peace Prize, I said that when I arrived in Afghanistan, I was not a feminist, but the country made me a feminist. I became feminist later, and for me, because and the quote that I selected here is Indira Gandhi,
Ah,
uh, Indian lady, Indian Prime Minister. Opportunities are not offered. They must be rested and worked for. And this calls for perseverance and courage. And this is from Indira Gandhi. So it's true that I showed a lot of patience during 20 years. I lived in Afghanistan during, from 2002 to 2021, and I could see only little progress for a woman. And suddenly the situation took us also this away. So we need to it teach me that this code for me is really we need to battle and to just go and grab what we want to take, because nobody is going to offer us and giving to us, especially as women from developing countries, for very patriarchal societies like Afghanistan. So it's a long fight. It's a very long fight, and we are only at the beginning of our journey. And I hope that the next generation will continue this fight, and I'm very hopeful of that, because I see that these new Afghan girls, young girls, are they are just there is a new and they will not be different, they will not just be passive, and I'm sure that slowly one day, maybe I'm not going to see that of my life, but maybe in 20 years, maybe we will see some progress in this country, and we will recall these dark days one day.
yes, so thank you so much that we have learned so much about resistance and persistence as well, and about the courage that Indira Gandhi speaks about, and also about dealing with hope. So thanks very, very much for this interview and for your time. Thanks so much, Hamida Aman. And now there is some time to, in the chat, the audience can send us some questions, and then we can have a look. Unfortunately, I'm not seeing them, but some of you might, to see the questions and then to maybe engage in a little exchange before we have to close.
May I can help, Susanne? I would say, may I can help?
I cannot see the questions. So, Hamida, can you see them?
Yes, I see the first question, Birgitta Groger. How do women in Afghanistan receive the TV program from Paris? As I said, the TV is broadcasting by satellite, and the satellite, and it's very efficient because we cover much more provinces, much more areas through satellite than through radio station, for instance. Because radio station we have to put antennas, and Afghanistan is a very mountainous country. And that's why satellite is much better, because it goes beyond the mountains, and we can really cover the entire country, but also neighboring countries, Iran and Pakistan, where many Afghan refugees are still living. The only thing is people need to have a receiver for satellite, but this is more than 60% of the population is equipped of satellite receiver. So, and this number is increasing, because as I said, the only window to the world, to some entertainment, to some normality is TV, and especially satellite TV, not local TV, because we have nothing more to show, but look, that's why it's a very efficient way. And also the strength of satellite, Taliban, we could see it in Iran, they can stop all communication inside the country. They have this power. They did it already. They cut internet, telephone, all kind of even radio. Our radio station was cut during 1 day, 3 days when they cut all telecommunication, but they cannot cut the satellites. They have no access to satellite. So if one day we are stopped in Afghanistan, we will continue the fight with the satellites. There is Renata who is asking if there is no concern for our students if they are not in danger while they are watching our content. I would say no, because they don't control as much the student, and the online education is tolerated. Is not I mean, it's not encouraged, but it's tolerated now because there is so many, and they cannot block everything because they cannot block the waves, radio waves, satellite, and internet. So they tolerate the online school, and what we are offering at this stage is mostly online. So we're not putting them at risk neither for that. What Birgitta is asking also about the psychological state of women. You can, Birgitta, and we can imagine that with such situation, the the psychological distress of women is at its summum, at the peak, and Afghanistan counts a higher number of woman suicide than male. Usually, it's the opposite. Usually, mostly men get suicide. The rate of men committing suicide is higher, but in Afghanistan, this is the data are totally reversed. Women are using suicide more as a way to free themselves from this nightmare. And it's true that we had to double our psychological programs. At the beginning on the radio station, we had 1 hour per day. It's 2 hours per day now. Same for the for the TV station. We have also live programs, support psychological program, and it's really heartbreaking to listen to the kind of message that we receive and the kind of phone calls that they are giving us. And especially when they took the power and they banned the school, a lot of schoolgirls were calling us saying that the only way that they could see as for them is just to commit suicide. They don't want to live anymore. It was horrible. It was heartbreaking. But we are working hard with the parents, with these kids, as much as can. But usually, this is as usually, so we feel that it's a small drop in the ocean of distress, but at least we are doing something. At least we are trying to help. But it's true that the psychological situation is very difficult.
One more question or two?
Yes, Sylvie is asking about this AU, the European Commission recent decision to start technical negotiation with Taliban delegation and to invite them to Brussels to discuss the potential possibility to send back some Afghan asylum seeker from Europe back to Afghanistan. Of course, those who committed maybe some crimes and delinquent one. But me personally, I'm it's a very indirect way to start to reconnect with these de facto authorities. And I'm for me, it's as a woman activist, it's a nonsense. We are fighting these people on a daily basis. They are breaking all the rules, all the human rights rules, and we accept to talk to them. Talking to them is also, it's not accepting, but it's also giving importance to them, to ask them to come to travel to Brussels when all the country is locked and not allowed to travel, and we give them this opportunity. You know, maybe for European it doesn't mean a lot, but in the Afghan mindset, gives a lot in terms of communication. You can imagine that they will show the images in Brussels, picture of them with European Commission members. This has an impact on the public, on the Afghan public. So I'm against, and we as women, and this is also something that we can do, is to intervene and to express our outrage for that, and the fact that we don't accept that we even discuss technical issues with Taliban. Why giving them so much importance and starting to discuss with them? This is the first step to slowly accept them as a regime, and we cannot accept that as long as this situation on women continue and perdure.
That's important for us to know that you have this perspective on that. And
We
I think
we
many of us share this. Yeah.
we
Yeah.
definitively it's we it's too much, and we how to and it's the first path to the normalization. And it's the time is passing. It's now 5 years, and slowly we find it's becoming a norm not to see Afghan girls going to school or women without no rights and locked down inside their houses. It's becoming a norm, and nobody now is really shocked by that, and we shouldn't let this situation happen.
Thanks so much for sharing this with us,
Thank you.
Hamida.
I don't know if
Maybe
you want
one
me.
more question from the audience. Caroline is also raising her hand.
Yes, Hamida, you should tell us how your finances are. You received also an amount of money from Optimist, but when I visited you in Paris and I could see how many persons are working there very intensively, and also like the equipment you have, what about financing all of that?
Yes.
Are more Optimists supposed to donate to you?
Yes, our optimists were super, the most generous organization that we met so far. Beside the Peace Prize, the E Club also donated. And as I said, Deauville Club, the club in Deauville as well, organized a solidarity dinner that we could also make some fundraising, and I went back with a nice check. And same in Uzès, in south of France, the club in Uzès organized a wonderful evening and we also gathered a lot of people very much interested. And beside that, as I said, it's mostly institutional and private sector right now, foundation, who are giving us their trust. And we want to and it's now it's that since 2025, since Donald Trump is in power, they cut USA, the American cut most of the international aid. We were lucky because we were not dependent on American aid, because as you can imagine, since 2021, I'm super upset against the US, and I didn't want to talk to them, and even though didn't want to ask them for even for $1. So I was lucky. Otherwise, I would have been in a very bad situation because this cut was so sudden. But many organizations at the moment are facing trouble, financial issues. We are lucky with Begum to continue to have some visibility for the next year. But this is not the case for many organizations who see the funding cut reduced, and of course the activity in the field also reducing. So it's time are very difficult for humanitarian, for NGOs at the moment. I'm not talking about only Afghanistan and Begum, but most of them. So it's important, if you're working for big organizations, institutions, to continue to support this organization. And now the civil society also need to be active, and us as European, not to rely only on US support, because we have to organize ourselves in order to continue our programs in either in Europe or in developing countries.
So Optimists can help if possible. Caroline, thanks for bringing this up. There's lots of possibilities still for support. And this is something that we take very seriously, as you have experienced before. And so a big shout out to our audience here in that sense.
We have a crowdfunding platform. If you want to share, I can share with you the link.
With us
the link. And for those who want to donate individually every month or once time to time, totally free. And we can also send you all the document to for the tax exemption as well for those who are in France. But
that's always good.
It's always good for the tax deduction.
Thanks so much. No, we can put all this information on our website because we're going to, this talk is recorded. There's more information about it. We're going to put all of this on our website, plus all the info that you just promised, and maybe a contact for further questions. And yes, I think, yeah. So with that in mind, I think we can come to a close now, and Giovanna has some closing remarks.
Thank you. Thank you, Susanne, and thank you, Hamida. This encounter was touched us deeply, has touched us deeply, and it has renewed our belief that even in the face of tragedy, we can still choose compassion, we can ease suffering, and through education, we can help open the way to freedom. Our next Peace Talk will take place on June 29, again at 7 p.m. On that occasion, Susan Becker will interview Silvana Arbia, judge of the ICTR, the United Nations International Criminal Tribunal for Rwanda. Thank you for your presence, your attention, and your participation. I look forward to welcoming you again on June 29.
Yes, thanks, Giovanna. Thanks, everybody, for being here. Join us again there. Thanks, Sabine and Caroline. And many, many, many thanks, Hamida Aman, for your time tonight, for sharing your experience, for doing this wonderful media program for the women and girls in Afghanistan. Let us know what we can do for them. And we know some things to do for you. And Sabine, did you want to add something? You just raised your hand.
I actually wanted to clap with my hands or put some other reaction, and mistakenly I raised my hand, but so I can do it verbally. Thank you so much, and it was really, really touching listening to you and so informative, and I wish you all the best for your project, Hamida. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Sabine. Thank you very much to all Sorority, to all my sisters. Thank you very much. And I didn't answer too many questions, but hopefully next time. Thank you very much.
Everybody can be in touch. Good night. Everybody has a good night. Thanks very much.
Bye-bye.